I drew a map that showed what was supposed to be 3 moves. We're gonna move from, and I drew it like, this is our house and our stuff, and I showed this is where which items will be going onto the pallet, which will be waiting for us in Japan. These are the items that are gonna be packed up by the movers, and they're gonna go into a giant shipping container, 40-foot container, and they're gonna put it on a boat across the Pacific Ocean, and it will go to our forever house. And then here's our temporary apartment that we're gonna live in Ohio when we move out. Normally they put you into like a hotel for a couple days, but our lead times are more complicated because of the borders being closed with COVID. And then here's a furnished apartment we'll land in Japan for a couple weeks while we house hunt, and we get our pallet of stuff shipped by plane. And then here's the house that everything will get delivered to. Oh, sorry for the hiccups. And while that all seems clear on paper, and ours ended up having quite a few extra moves and steps in it, it's like life is still messy. So hey friend, it's day 2 of our 15th move in 3 years, and I want to teach you everything I've learned about moving internationally with a family of 4. Now this is a different episode of Sunday Sips, in that normally I put you on my head, you're in a GoPro right now, and we go for a run and I chat about life every mile. But I was not able to do my run because life is complex, and I've been doing moving logistics, navigating all of the shenanigans, and I want to take you on a tour. I'm going to bring you into 3 different spaces of the in-laws house, maybe 5, depending on how motivated we are, and just show you what's going on. So this is kind of our landing area. This is the basement. This is where we live presently. It's very exciting. And then you won't even be able to see in here, but I did a ton of work in the crawl space, but it's too dark. And then let's go outside. Yes, we're gonna use a different format because there's still a lot I want to talk about with you. Come over here, open the garage. So we set up a tarp. It's nasty cold in Chicago. There's our fridge and a whole bunch of other stuff that we have to navigate. And then I outfitted the screen and porch with this 6mm industrial tarping. We also store here. So this is all our life that went from Ohio to Japan and back to Chicago. Now let's deal with it. So I'll pop you in my head. We'll get to work. Basement is priority number 1. There's also an attic I redid and another space as well, but we're not gonna worry about that yet. All right, and we have a little buddy with us today. Where is he? Come here, little buddy. Say hi, Akio. He's a wiggly guy. All right, let's pop him in his cage for a second, and we'll get to work. But in case you're new here, oh, fine, I'll pick you up. Oh, buddy. You good? Let's barricade you. But in case you're new here, welcome to Sunday Sips, where I curate my latest thoughts on engineering, global leadership. He's so tired. Engineering, global leadership, entrepreneurship, fitness, Japan life, now Chicago life, and so much more. He's gonna fall asleep on my shoulder. But I guess where we can start, many of you have never moved internationally. Like, I'm just gonna make that assumption. Unless I find this like perfect niche with content creation. Go to sleep, buddy. He's on my shoulder. Unless I find this perfect niche with content creation, you're likely an engineer or just a normal dude or lady dude just trying to make your way in the world, and you're like, how the heck would you move 15 times in 1 year? So I'll give you some context as to how that happened. We'll go through that quickly. But then I want to teach you tactically how to move well internationally. If you're doing it through a company, which is what I did the first time, or if you're in if your life's on hard mode, how you actually do it on your own dime, which is crazy that we pulled this off. And major shout out to my wife, because she's the best. So a little bit of context, I worked for Johnson & Johnson for a total of a decade, but at about the 8-year mark, I was tapped on the shoulder after working on surgical robotics to move to Japan, connect with Japanese clinicians, understand their unmet needs, and then basically I traveled all over the region. I saw surgeries, and then I led and directed a team of engineers to progress new technologies on their behalf. A lot of VR stuff. It was cool. So in order to get to Japan, they have a whole process when they move individuals internationally. We'll go through that. But then after 2 years in that assignment, they ended it prematurely, and we ended up moving 12 times in 1 year to get to Japan based on a whole host of COVID shenanigans. That's another story for another time. So then we ended up exiting J&J in order to continue life in Japan, which was also pretty cool and really, really hard. And then after doing full go entrepreneurship for 6 months in Tokyo, our revenue did not exceed our burn rate. So we did a scorched earth speed transition to Chicago, and it is a miracle that all of our possessions were able to make it to Chicago. So we'll talk through how we did that on our own dime. And now it was the 14th move to get to Chicago. It's the 15th move because all of our stuff from a shipping container has arrived, because they literally put it on a boat for 8 weeks across the Pacific Ocean. So I'm going to make a baby barricade and see if this guy will just play. And we're going to start doing stuff. There you go, bud. There you go. He's unsteady because he's tired. So we'll use his pack and play as a huge barrier. Hopefully this will be fun and wild for you. So our system, what our goal is for today. We're not going to deal with this. This is holding area. This is still functional because I need it. But what we want to do, if you could visualize with me for a minute, we're going to do like an L couch with a chase that looks dead on the TV. Not that TV, but our TV. And that's our entertainment console. We had to like totally strip this whole area and compress all their original furniture back in that corner, and then our stuff starts here back. Like these couches are going to go into a storage unit or a family's basement, but we're going to try to get the couch liberated. And then I made this piece of furniture. There's another one in the storage unit upstairs. We're going to try to get this under there, and maybe the bookshelf back there, which means all the boxes have to go somewhere. I want to put them here, but I can't because this is here. So I think I'm going to just start putting all the boxes back there to clear the wall for the shelf. There's this wonderful game I used to play in like 4th grade at school where you had all these little cars. I think it was called Traffic Jam, and you had to like slide each car to like get the taxi through. That's what this feels like. So while I'm doing that process, now that I've given you context, we can talk about moving with a company, because I think that makes sense. So mission number 1, move everything over there, and then we'll talk more on this process. This is also a little unsafe, and for some reason, I'm going to complain, and then we're going to get to the lesson. The learning. These bozos, that's too strong. It's too strong. These lovely individuals who packed our stuff, there's 4 screws that go here, 4 screws that go down here for this desk to connect here, which will then become the command center instead of the folding table that got me through for 2 months. You know, and they had this nice plastic that they put all this effort into to put the cable in. Great, I respect that. Where the heck are the screws? They're not in the drawer. Like, you could have wrapped it in some bubbles and just in the drawer. But I have a total of, let's check the ledger, okay? Just have to take a little peek here. Cover you for a second so I can cover my signature. Oh, this isn't going to tell me. 1 second. Gotta find the final page. There's like a page that tells you how many boxes there are. Here it is. I can show you this. Cover my signature. This is how many boxes we have. We have 244 boxes, and one of them, friends, contains the flippin' screws that connect these 2 critical pieces of furniture together. Okay, that's enough complaining. Let's start moving stuff. So anyway, let's talk about the moves. And I'm not going to talk about the 12 moves. I've made plenty of posts on how the heck that happened based on COVID and bed bugs and other shenanigans. I want to talk about if your company taps you on the shoulder, or you've strategically networked into an internal transfer kind of opportunity, which are challenging to get, but they're real, they exist, and that's something I can coach people in, how to actually do that, how to position yourself so that can occur. Your company, if it's large, I'm assuming like a Fortune 500, because they're normally the ones that have the cash to do it. Small companies is something I don't know that much about. They're likely going to have some kind of international assignee transfer process. And there's going to be a lot of things that occur that you won't understand initially because HR and different aspects of crypticness. So I'm going to unpack it for you. The first of which, your assignment will likely have a length to it. So normally this is for tax reasons as well as like project planning reasons. But let's assume you're doing a long-term assignment like me, which means it's scoped at like 2 to 3 years. The reason it's not scoped at like 3 to 10 years or something like that, depending on the company or the country, once you live in another country for a certain amount of years, and it depends on which country you started in and where you ended up, when that happens, there are normally tax implications that occur after a certain amount of time based on like trade agreements that exist between the two countries. So for the case of Japan and US, I think that's at year 4. It could be year 5 where things get messy. So the way my taxes were set up, we're gonna go all over the place. We'll get to the relocation, but apparently we need to talk about taxes. The way my taxes were set up, I pay taxes in the US, I pay taxes in Japan, and then my company gives me a package. Well, they don't anymore because I left. So this year's tax season is gonna be terrifying. But they would basically offset the differential. So it's like I was making my normal salary in Cincinnati, but then they pay bonus taxes to Japan. And then I pay into Social Security in the US, not into Japan. This led to a whole bunch of problems with getting medical when I exited, which we're not going to talk about today. You could set up a call if you really want to know. But it's so complicated. All these things I'm reliving with you. You know, it's not that bad if you just grab one box at a time. So anyway, there's going to be some kind of trigger decision where you're going to be tapped on the shoulder and they're going to be like, hey, or you applied to a job, but then they tell you, you got it. It's the more traditional route, but it's less common and international. And they're going to be like, hey, here's the process. You're going to start this whole movement shenanigans. That box is super heavy. Where we typically will have you packed out of your house and you'll be given 2 choices, or at least I was. It's like a strange choose your own adventure. I need to make sure I can get to him if I need to, but he's safe back there. Go, little man, go. He's walking so good now. It's awesome. So choice number 1, which is great for all you young folks with a dog and maybe a spouse, but nothing else, is they'll be like, hey, we're gonna give you a pallet. Yes, a pallet. It's like a piece of wood that's about this big, maybe a little larger. For those in an international context, I don't know what you call them, but it's just like 2x4 wood, and you put crap on it and a forklift can pick it up. Ooh. Oh, you're good. You're making it. You can do it. Come on. You're good. Yeah. Vital. Just means fight in Japanese. You're gonna be given a pallet. Lift with your back. That's good. That was great. Give myself a 2 out of 10 on that form. And then they're gonna say like, hey, we'll give you $6,000 or $8,000 once you get in country to buy all the furniture you need. Now this works great if you have a lease or you've purchased a home and you want to keep your home, because you can leave all your crap in your home. And then likely with your salary, the way that it works is they're gonna give you a cost of living adjustment. So they're gonna say, hey, you're making a base salary of $135,000. Maybe you're like a senior manager, right? But when you go to Tokyo, the yen's super low. So we're gonna adjust some of your cost of living benefits to account for that. So you get paid less, but you get paid the same because it's just based on the cost of living adjustment, which is always, it's never calculated in your favor, friends. Doesn't account for the true cost of milk. Ooh, whacked my head on there. So, you need a cost of living adjustment. You know, like, get to the moving. It's gonna happen. You need context. You need layers of context. That's why it's a podcast, so that we can just free flow through this. While we move boxes and parents in parallel. Someone's like, I wish you'd just go run. It's easier when you run. Sorry, I want to talk to you. Hey, bud. So, you're gonna be given option number 1 is, do you want a little stack of cash and just move out with one pallet, and that pallet is going to go on an airplane and it'll arrive like 2 or 3 days after you get to the country. That's an important thing to remember. Option number 2, which is what we took, is, see, we're getting into moving. It's happening, all right? Option number 2, we're gonna give you that pallet, but we're not gonna give you that money. And instead, we're gonna pay movers to come and pack out your life, which means when you get to your country, like, you're on the hook for any other things you need furniture-wise, if you need more or less. That's the best deal when you have 4 children, but there's maximum complexity with it because you're moving your whole life between countries. There's not like a fuzzy middle. And for us, we ended up selling our house because we had done like missions work in Japan. Like every summer we were going out, and we really thought we were gonna live in Japan for the long term. The assignment was originally structured 2 to 3 years, and I had colleagues who had extended to 5. And it seemed like the business cared about innovation from Japan until organizational restructure impacted us. So for us, we like, there's an expression like burn the boats, which means we sold our home, we purged everything we didn't think we needed for our family, and we took the have people pack us out and bring it to Japan. And now it's in Chicago because shogunai, it is what it is. That's a lovely Japanese lesson for you today. Here, look at this. This is great. Ta-da! There's some GoPro cables for all our content creation. My cable management is supreme. So we took option 2. Movers come. Movers pack out everything. So let's talk about that process in all its glory. When they come and pack you out, I'm used to being broke. Like, I don't know, I'm 32 years old, okay? And I still live with kind of this like broke college student mindset, even though I have an expensive couch and electronics and crap like that. So maybe that's why I still have a broke college student mindset. Ooh, you good? You good? You got a hard head, that's good. So I'm used to, like, you know, you send out a text message to all your friends and you're like, hey, we'll give out pizza and beer if you come and help load up the minivan with our stuff, and anyone have a truck that we could put a mattress in? That's why you should never buy a truck, because then you're never asked to move. People don't recognize how much you can put in a minivan though, so you're still not off the hook with a minivan. Ooh, our red Solo cups made it from Costco. By the way, if any of you run, this is the pinnacle running movement ever. Run, fat boy, run. It is just a phenomenal piece of cinema. It captures the journey so authentically. So I've done multiple half marathons and 22 miles worth of a full marathon. Yeah, I just decided I didn't need that last 2 miles. Last 3.9 miles, I was like, nah, I'm good. Ugh. So movers come, all right? And you don't have to do anything. And that's really weird because I've never paid for them until recently. So like, I still highly suggest in this season of transition, you take a good hard look at what you have, because especially if you got it in the mouth. Let me check. I'm doing quick safety check. Yeah, he's safe. All right, no need for you to see that. Good job, Akio. Nice swirl on the back end. So, like, do a good hard look at everything you possess and really question hard, like, is this essential? Do I need this? Like, go on Netflix and watch the, gosh, who's her name? She's Japanese, she's awesome. The Spark Joy Lady. Go find the Spark Joy Lady. If you Google Spark Joy, you'll find something helpful. And start asking yourself, like, does this spark joy? Is it providing value? Do I need it in this next context? Like, Japan is very tight as a country, very small. People live in really reasonable living accommodations. And one of the big mistakes we made is like we had a huge dining room table. Even this furniture I made was huge. This is a really big piece of furniture. I have 2 of them. They were custom fit from my previous house, so I took them with me. Like, I couldn't sell them because it's my woodworking, man. But the problem is, when we moved, like J&J outfitted us in a very large home based on our family size. But when we exited and it had different financial means and risks, we moved into a very small Japanese style home and then had to get a storage unit to store this. And I had to move it all myself. So, like, look at everything you have and think through kind of these risks of if A, then B, if B, then C. Like, think a couple layers deep of like, where's this transition gonna take you? And it might take you back to where you started. Like, you might just do the rotation. Your family enjoys it. The rotation ends and you're like, that was a good adventure. The rotation's over. You may move towards localization pathways, which have their own challenges because you'll likely lose all international schooling support. Your base pay will change to whatever's equitable pay for individuals in that country, which means if you have, for instance, in my case, if you have US-based liabilities, like I had student debt that still needed to be paid in USD, but if the yen salary is, 60% of what a US salary would be for a given role, then there's no way I can pay my liabilities. Like, you have to kind of think through those layers of like, would you go the localization route down the road? Or does this international opportunity lead to another global leadership opportunity? And if that's the case, what if you end up in Singapore, which is even tighter than Japan in some areas? So the reason I say that, it's like chess. You good? Nice balance. You gotta think a couple layers deep as you look at each thing you possess, or at least buckets of things. Because even though you paid for the mover route, which is awesome. Hi! Even though you paid for the mover route, like, you still have to figure out beyond that, especially if you end up going the personal move route. You make an exit. You gotta plan. So, movers come, and they will literally go drawer by drawer and pack it in boxes. For certain items, like our dressers, they like bubble wrapped everything inside of it, which is crazy. I need to do a diaper check. No, I think it's just grapes I'm smelling on his outfit. We'll do a more formal check later. The parental sniff, everyone's done that at some point. The problem is to get close enough, but to not overcommit. Oh God, that one's heavy. Cheeky kid. All right. So, making good progress. This is definitely one of my more scattered conversations, but there's a lot to cover. Like, people don't understand the nuance of an international assignment, and nobody told me this. Even though like J&J has international relocating people and tax support, and they have a process that they share at a certain time, they don't go into like all these little nuances. Like, this is all learning from pain. And you got to remember, especially if you have a spouse, kids, you have to bring everyone up into the journey together. Like, I drew a map that showed what was supposed to be 3 moves. We're gonna move from, and I drew it like, this is our house and our stuff, and I showed this is where which items will be going onto the pallet, which will be waiting for us in Japan. These are the items that are going to be packed up by the movers, and they're going to go into a giant shipping container, 40-foot container, and they're going to put it on a boat across the Pacific Ocean, and it will go to our forever house. And then here's our temporary apartment that we're going to live in Ohio when we move out. Normally they put you into like a hotel for a couple days, but our lead times were more complicated because of the borders being closed with COVID. And then here's a furnished apartment we'll land in Japan for a couple weeks while we house hunt, and we get our pallet of stuff shipped by plane. And then here's the house that everything will get delivered to. And sorry for the hiccups. And while that all seems clear on paper, and ours ended up having quite a few extra moves and steps in it, it's like life is still messy in these transitions. feelings become messy of who you miss and where you want to be, and you get torn between these different contexts. And what you don't need is a whole, normally don't swear, so I'm not going to, a whole bunch of stuff following you between contexts, right? And as you have more children, you acquire more to clothe them and to put their bunk bed together and to have toys and a couch. Like, I'm not a minimalist. I try to be very practical. And this is, the contents of these boxes are the life we've built as a family over the last, I don't know. How long have I been married? I think I have it on the board. Let's go check my anniversary so I can be a good husband. It's funny, my mom listens to these podcasts, but I'm like 3 months ahead, so it's curious what comment I'll get. Where is it? Anniversary. May 25th. 12 years. We'll be married 12 years, right? So like, we've been building a life together for 12 years, which does include some stuff. Akio, how's that Nerf bullet taste? You're being good with it. Just don't swallow the, I don't really, let's pop that out. Gross, it's wet. Yeah, so like, stuff has sentimental value. Like, as soon as this was delivered, it gave so much rest and peace to my kids. They're like, oh my God, there's our stuffies, and there's the stuff that they attach to and enjoy. And it does create joy. But at the same time, for me as a logistical engineer, the more you have, the more of a nightmare it is to transition. And if you want to be able to have global experiences as a family, move across different contexts, become more nomadic. I know there's like a lot of hype about that digital nomadic life, which is that something I want? I don't know. I kind of like the value of in-person stuff. I'm a fan of hybrid though, but I'd rather be set up where I'm running my own company and I can choose to run it from Japan for 6 months a year, in Chicago from 6 months a year, and afford to fly my family back and forth. Like, I want to believe in that reality. That's what I'm building towards, as opposed to just being remote forever. Yeah, it's less fun. It sounds less fun to me. So with that, use the global move as an opportunity to downsize as much as possible. I had tons of DVDs that I held on to because I remember when I bought them from, the $5 bin at Walmart in college. But when was the last time I watched that DVD versus I just sat on the couch and turned on Netflix? And it's like breaking through those weird attachments is challenging, but it's way better to do it when you're in your first locality than trying to have people move it, trying to find somewhere to store it. Ooh, interesting. You okay? Yeah, those slide. That was a surprise to us both. Oh! Danger. So that would be phase 1, purge. Okay, we've established purging. Nice, Akio. It's amazing how much like the words you say frame how they feel about stuff, as opposed to, oh my God, and you run, then they freak out. It's like, oh, great job, clap. The clap stops crying 80% of the time. Easy. Even if there's a bloody nose or whatever, just like, wow, that was really great. Oh, okay, let's get that stopped up, bud. I don't know, maybe that's like parent number 4 mindset. I don't know if that's really possible. Parent number 1, or sorry, kid number 1. I don't trust this lean very much. This thing's really freaking heavy. All right, so let's pretend you purge. Let's say you got everything you need out of the first module. Excellent work. Module number 2, though, is make it easy for yourself on the unpack. And what I mean from that, like, I don't know, this is probably crosses many global contexts, but I'll speak to my own. Like, in a Western, let's even say in a Midwest Chicagoan context, maybe, I don't know, this has to be more personality type. Do you have a crap drawer? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like in your kitchen, you have drawers with spoons and utensils, and then you have that one drawer where one of these feet falls off of a piece of furniture, but you don't know what piece of furniture it is, and because you think you will need it someday, it just goes in the drawer. Crap like that. And depending on your personality, ooh, look what you found. You want to go for a ride? You know, but then when you have to move, like, you have to face that drawer. Otherwise, you're going to take that crap drawer, they're going to literally take it, pour it in a box, and you'll open a box and be like, well, shoot, where do I put all this crap? I don't even know where the feet go. I don't know what this key goes to. So if you can make it easy for yourself, if you work a grid and kind of ruthlessly explore what you have and pre-organize it slightly, nothing too crazy, because your company's paying someone to provide you a service. But if you partner with them in the service, the outcomes will be way better. Do we want to drive to the corner with this? I kind of want to leave that open for biggerish toys. Let's put it between the outlets, maybe. This is all temporary, by the way. My wife doesn't approve of anything I'm doing. Which means as much effort as I've put into this, I will have to do this all again. Akio. Come on. I'm watching the fingers. Hopefully my parenting style doesn't provide you with too much anxiety. If it is, have another kid and you'll have less anxiety. Y'all are like, this guy's toxic. All right. So do some pre-work to kind of put things in their proper place. So it's very easy. So a great example of that, like, I'm a content creator. I did live streaming. It's just like an integral part of my life. So this desk has recorded a large portion of my classes for my community on Skool, about 2/3 of them, which is not the ideal. It's not what I wanted, but I made it work. I have a projector that like puts words up, a light, mic. This is bare bones essential. I have more. But what's helpful is before the move, I disassembled it all because I wrap my cables, I label my cables, I put everything in bags so that I knew all of this goes to this mic, all of this cable works. Because whether it's a USB 3, 2.0, 2.1, 2.3 cable, like, they have different data transfer rates. So certain cables have to be with my external hard drives. Certain cables have to be on my mic, otherwise it gets like bit crushing and weird. So a whole bunch of like crap that I figured out to get my rig going. So before the move, I disassemble it, I organize it, I pull my monitors off of the stands. Technically, per the agreement, I could just leave it and they have to deal with it, but I don't want them to break my stuff, and they probably wouldn't. But also, like, I was able to get it up and running super fast when we were in Japan because it was where it needed to be. All right, whew, nice one. That's a good one. See the clap? Clap works every time. All right, we're gonna leave the, yeah. Just clapping back at me. So what we're trying to do, we're treating this as a studio apartment, even though it's a basement. So we're creating quadrants. Okay, so I need you to visualize. My wife hates that, so that's gonna move. But the idea is, like, you have the bedroom quadrant. This will be the content creation and instrument corner music room. I have a drum set that I have to figure out. Might have to keep it in storage, which kills me because it's my favorite instrument now. Ooh, you're good. You're getting sleepy, I know. Yeah, keep waddling. You're losing your footing because you're tired. And then we're gonna do entertainment console with our TV up here. I'm probably gonna L the couch, but I want to keep it open. So maybe like lily pad it, like pad. I don't know. Woo! You're tired. That's all it is. You're tired. All right, friends. I'm gonna change his diaper and put him down for a nap. And then we will continue this adventure. But hopefully this is helpful. 33 minutes of rambling. Good times. What are we going to talk about when we get back? We went through phase 1, purge. Phase 2, help yourself with your pre-packing. So I guess let's go through what the actual move logistics roll out to be. And then we'll get into, if you ever have to do this yourself, what it costs and how you can drive those costs down. All right, see you in a minute.